Caleb had always been the guy with crappy luck. Not the kind where life completely falls apart. No, that would be too dramatic. His was the slow, frustrating kind. The kind that made people shake their heads and say, "Dude, how does this stuff keep happening to you?" Take the first phone. Winter, ice fishing with his uncle. It was a perfect day, sun shining, ice thick enough to hold their little pop-up shack. Caleb had just pulled his phone out to check the time when his glove caught the edge and plunk, gone, just like that. One slip, 1 second of distraction. And his phone was on a one-way trip to the bottom of the lake. His uncle had laughed, patted him on the back and said, "Well, guess the fish got themselves a new radio." Caleb just sighed. Crappy luck. Story of his life. Then the second phone. Spring rolled around and this time he was back at the same lake, but now with his girlfriend Emma. It was one of those golden afternoons where everything felt right. She had never fished before, and after an hour of waiting, she finally hooked one. It wasn't big, but it was hers, and that was all that mattered. "Take a picture," she had said, grinning, holding the fish up proudly. Caleb pulled out his phone, lined up the shot, and it slipped. His fingers barely brushed the edge as it tumbled end over end and plunk. Gone. Again. Emma had stared at him, stunned. "Are you serious?" "Yep." "Your second phone?" "Yep." She shook her head, laughing. "That's some crap luck, Caleb." He couldn't even be mad. It was just his life. And the worst part, the only picture of her first fish, the memory that was supposed to last forever, was now sitting at the bottom of the lake. Time went on. Life moved forward. More bad luck, more small screw-ups, but nothing topped the curse of the lake until years later. Caleb wasn't a kid anymore. Life had dragged him through enough to know that sometimes you just had to laugh at the chaos. He had a job, bills, and a whole pile of responsibilities he never saw coming. Then one day, out of nowhere, his buddy invited him out to help with a dive job, cleaning up an old dock that had collapsed in that same lake. Caleb hadn't been back in years. The moment he stepped onto the boat, it felt weird. Full circle. They got to work, pulling up old planks, tangled fishing line, even a rusted-out lawn chair. But then, along the wall of rocks near the deeper part of the lake, Caleb saw something that made his stomach drop. A phone. Caked in mud, screen shattered, but his. One of them, at least. It had been years. No way it still worked, no way anything was left, but curiosity won. Back on shore, he dried it off, took it home, and, just for the hell of it, plugged it in. And against all logic, all odds, it turned on. The screen flickered, glitching, barely hanging on. He held his breath, scrolling through dead apps and a frozen screen, waiting for it to crash completely. Then, a picture loaded, blurry, water-stained, Emma, holding her first fish, a memory lost and forgotten, now sitting right there in his hands. And in that moment, Caleb realized maybe his luck wasn't so crappy after all.